Hello everybody, House Shrink here. I have another live streaming here with another life lesson. I'm waiting for people to show up so I don't have to repeat the topic, which I will many times, but at least from the beginning. So come on in. We've had thousands of people in the last couple of streamings that I did. So it's getting very exciting. We're getting a really good following. And I'm asking each of you that when you come on, the first thing to do is just to follow, because that expands the audience and it allows me to then reach more people, and you also be notified when I'm doing something new. So join me. I'm going to have some water here and we'll start the program. So people are starting to come in, and hopefully we'll have several thousand like we did last time. But if you come in, the first thing to do is to follow. Click the follow. That's the first thing. Hey, everybody's coming in now. Okay, so today the topic is going to be how to make you a super you. So this is very important. Good life lessons. People are coming in, and I'll be explaining it over and over and how we do it. So this will be, look at it as a lecture, and the ticket that you pay for the lecture is just to simply click follow. If you're already following me, then fine, you're in already. But if you're not, please click follow. Also, let me explain that, as you know now, any video that I do here longer than 60 seconds, of course, won't go to TikTok. But TikTok allows us to download and put it in another social media, which is my YouTube channel, and it's Dr. Mario Martinez, and you go there, and there are over 100, pretty close to 200 videos now on all kinds of things about life. But today is going to be how to make you a super you. So what I ask is, we want to keep the clowns away because this is a serious audience. We don't need comedians or clowns or sarcastic people because they take away from the time that you're putting in here. So if the clowns, ignore them and we will block them so that we can have some serious people here. Yesterday was wonderful. We had over 1,000 people, more, and they had some really, really good questions. It was about ayahuasca and what does it do to the brain, and that's going to be up today on my YouTube channel. So anyway, today, hi everybody. I am going to be talking about how to make you a super you. And this is how it works. So pay attention and follow. Make sure you follow before you do anything else. Go and click follow for House Shrink. Then you're in. Okay, there are three things to consider when you're trying to become a super you. And what is a super you? The best you can be. You don't compete with anybody. You just enhance yourself. Don't compete with anybody because you'll always lose. You'll always find something better, someone worse. You compete with yourself. But not even that, you're challenging yourself gradually to become a better person. So, the three components of the super self, the super you, are time, freedom, and order. Those three things. If you don't look at those three things, it's not going to happen. And this will also enhance your health. It'll enhance your relationships. It'll enhance anything you do in your life because you're looking at the terrain of greatness. And in the terrain of greatness, you require freedom, you require time, and, excuse me, get a little water here, getting dry. Okay, you require time, freedom, and order. So let's take one at a time. You can begin to ask yourself, in these three areas, which one needs the most work? What is order? You have to have order in your life, which means that you're an ecological system. You have thoughts, you have emotions, you have feelings, and you have a world around you. The first thing that you need to do is find order in your world, internal and external. The external, you can control it. Anywhere that you are in your house, make sure that it's orderly. Any kind of lack of order in the house reflects your brain, and it doesn't allow you to concentrate as well. I know a lot of people think that that being messy is cute and being messy is genius. Is not. It's not good. You have to have order in at least one room in your house. whether it's a living room or your bedroom or whatever, one room, and you meticulously keep order there. That's the external order. At work or at school, order. Order is extremely important because it reflects your brain. It's very, very important. All right? So here we go. Then, as you look at order, and I'll explain more. As you look at order, you'll find out if there are areas in your house, in your life, that are out of order. So, for example, you have thoughts all over the place. There's some meditation that you can do to bring order to your mind. If you come into the house and it's a pigsty, then clean it up because you're not a pig. You're an elegant person. Clean it up. You don't have to be told to clean things up. Clean up your bedroom. Clean up one part at least of your house that is in order. And you're going to see how your mind begins to function differently. You're not so aware of it. You walk in and everything's out of order and you don't notice because you're desensitized. But it affects your brain. It affects how you think. It affects your sense of continuity and your sense of predictability and all those things. So that's the first thing you do. Okay, now, the second thing is freedom. How much freedom do you have to be, or how much freedom do you have to be yourself? How much freedom are you allowed to be you? And in what conditions do you have freedom? In what conditions do you have your freedom usurped or blocked? Freedom is extremely important for the immune system. When you feel lack of freedom, you go into learned helplessness, and it's not very good. It's not very good for you. So anyway, so you look at the freedom, and I'll be going over them extensively, but I want to bring them up gradually and speak a little bit about each one of them. So if you just join me, the theme for today is how to make you a super you. And the three ingredients that I bring in: order, which is very important; freedom, which is very important. So, there's quite a few people coming in. Okay, so anyway, so I talked a little bit about order. I talked a little about freedom, which has to do with how much freedom do you have to express yourself. And here's where it comes. That's so important with political correctness, that you're not able to express this or express that because you offend this, you offend that. That's tyranny. That's tyranny. You don't want to have that. You want to be able to express. You don't want to be mean with people. You don't want to be critical of people. But if you see that something is not right, you talk about it. And if people don't like it, well, you give them permission to not like it. So it's very important to be able to see that. Okay, so we're talking about the ingredients that are necessary. Excuse me. The ingredients that are necessary for you to have a sense of the super you that I call it. It's an outlier super you. And anybody can be a super you. You just have to have order in those areas. You have to have, which I'll discuss later. But it doesn't matter what disabilities you have or impairments that you have or limitations that you have. You can become a super you. A super you is not someone who's perfect. A super you is someone who's moving into perfection, but never reaches perfection, because perfection doesn't exist. And if it did, it would be extremely boring for people. Can you imagine somebody who's perfect? They know everything. It doesn't work that way. The brain always wants something to not be perfect so they can constantly look and evolve. Okay, those of you that just joined me, the theme for today is how to make you a super you. All right, so a lot of people are joining. Yesterday we had over 1,000 people, and last time same thing. So it's becoming a really very popular area here because I'm discussing things that have meaning. A lot of things in TikTok are just mindless, but here I try to give you something so that you can begin to learn and grow and be serious about yourself, because you have a beautiful sense of life if you learn these things. So if you just join me, the theme for today is how to make you a super you. All right. So, any questions so far? I'll keep going, but if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them for you. That's a serious question. No clowns, no things that are unrelated to what we're talking about here. Okay. So, a lot of people are joining. Very honored to receive your knowledge today. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say that. And that's I can't read it very well because I have white, and white on white is very difficult, but whoever it is, VIMM. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we are here to talk about the kinds of things that bring a person into greatness. And I talked about the first two, because I want to go deep into it. You have to have order, you have to have freedom, and then the most interesting, which I left at the last, is time. What do you do with time? And time is extremely important, and I'll be talking about that. If you are constantly feeling that you don't have enough time to do things, you're going to be in what I call the urgent present. And the urgent present is one way to learn hypertension and gastritis, because you're constantly moving. So what you want to do is look at the time in your life, how you deal with time, and how you can allocate enough time and space to be able to get out of that urgent present. So the three ingredients, again, freedom, time, and order. I feel overwhelmed. I'm going into my senior year and I don't know what to do. Well, this is why you're here. Look at the three areas. Look at the freedom that you have to express yourself and the things that you want to do about yourself. Look at the order that you have. If you're studying, your room has to be orderly, because that will help you. And then look at the time that you're allocating to things. Sometimes people will cram too many things into a period of time that is impossible to do. And that is a learned behavior. That is a learned behavior. And what they do is, instead of slowing down when things are getting very stressful, they speed up. So the key is, when you're doing too much, slow down. And I like to use a little story about Don Quixote de la Mancha. Don Quixote had an aide, a helper, who would help him put on his armor. If you haven't read the book, it's a fiction, it's really great. But his name was Sancho Panza. So he would help him put on his armor so he could go fight windmills. A little delusional, but it's symbolic. So he would say to Sancho, Sancho, dress me slowly, I'm in a hurry. So keep that mantra. Dress me slowly, I'm in a hurry. So for the senior, slow down. It's a matter of priorities. Don't spend a lot of time here. Other than this, don't spend a lot of time wasted on social media if it's just watching something shaking their body, or just go to school, finish up, do well, and then give yourself permission to enjoy and have a good time. So it's a matter of finding order, finding time, and finding freedom. And the most important thing is that you have to be good to yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. In fact, when something is bad, when things are not going well, adversity, and someone needs your help, that's the time that you have to take care of yourself the most. Why? Because you have to be in good shape, physically, emotionally, in every way, to be able to help other people. But people forget, when someone else needs them, they forget about themselves and they become caretakers at their expense. So it's not being selfish to take care of yourself when things are tough. It's a way of being able to help others. Because if you're not strong or healthy, you can't help anybody. Okay, so let me talk about time some more. Time. It's so important to look at time that when people get older, they say that time goes faster. And some of the gerontologists will say, well, that's how it is. You get older. No, it's not like that at all. What happens is that you feel that time is going faster because you drop your creativity. You drop your curiosity. You drop your interest in things. But the people that I work with, those of you who follow my work know that I do a lot of research with centenarians, people who are over 100 and healthy, and they have great memories, and they always feel like they have enough time for everything. And to have enough time for everything, you have to be creative. You have to have creativity to look at new things, to not just be mindlessly going around, because what that will do is that'll make time pass quickly. Why? Because when you're looking at something of interest, something novel, something new, your brain thinks this is important for survival, so let me pay attention. And by paying attention like that, then it gives you the perception of more time spent. If you're mindlessly going around, time just flew. So it's not growing older, it's a lack of curiosity. So look how important time is. And by the way, time doesn't contribute to anything. Time is an affordance, which means that it allows you to do things in space. When people say time heals, time doesn't do a damn thing. Time doesn't heal you. Your immune system heals you. What you do with yourself heals you. but not your immune, not your time. Time is an affordance. It allows you to do something, but it doesn't contribute anything. Some people will say, well, you have a wound, and in 10 days it'll heal. Time didn't do a damn thing, nothing. Your immune system did it. Your immune system needed the affordance to do what it needed to do. And when you think that time does something, then you lose your agency, which is your awareness of what you contribute to things. And agency is very important. You don't tell the universe to give you something. The universe doesn't give you anything. You have to have agency, which you decide. So, time in the present, mindfulness in the present. And one of the ways to stay mindful, right now, if you want to be mindful, look around in what I'm doing here, and look at one of the paintings, or look at my glasses, or look at something. The moment you notice something new, boom, you're into mindfulness, immediate mindfulness. That's how that works. So anyway, there's some questions here that are just questions that don't merit me saying anything. And the people that are trying to play games, go ahead and play games, and we'll just block you or mute you. So getting back to creating a super you, the 3 ingredients. You have to have order in your life. You have to have freedom to express and to do your work. And you have time to be able to do it. And all these 3 can be cultivated. Every one of them can be cultivated, but it requires time. By cultivated, I mean learning. Cultivating means slowly, like when you're learning to ride a bike, and when you're learning something, a language or something, it requires repetition. It requires finding the context and the meaning. So that's what allows. So anyway, so our moderator said that some people saying that they're being banned. I have no idea if anybody's being banned here, so I'm not sure what that is. Integrity, somebody asked about integrity. Yes, but see, integrity, it's a really good question. Integrity, if you do those 3 things, you'll have integrity. If you have your freedom to express yourself, if you have order in your life, and if you're conscious of your time, that integrity means to integrate, to be an integer, to be integrated. So that's a good question. But these things happen, and these things happen by having the right terrain. And the right terrain, again, is the freedom, the order. These 3 things that I talked about, and the freedom, the order, and the time are very important. And if you don't ever want to forget them, do a little acronym: freedom, order, and time. Freedom, order, and time. FOT. FOT. So that's a way to remember it. Or TOF, tough, even better. TOF is tough, better. Those are acronyms that you'll never forget it. When I was learning immunology, there are 5 antibodies that the B cells produce, and it was hard to remember. But I thought, okay, I'm going to get a little acronym, and I called it GAMED. And I can tell you now, without thinking, the antibodies are IgG, IgA, IgM, IgE, and IgD. Those are the 5 antibodies that the immune system has. So anyway, how do you feel about mantras? Well, that's a really good question. Mantras have to be embodied. If you say Om Mani Padme Hum, or if you say whatever mantra it is, it has to be embodied. It has to have meaning for you. What the mantra does, the initial meditation for mantras, is to focus your mind, to get your mind in. It's a one spot focusing. That's the first part of meditation, focusing. It could be a mantra, it could be your breathing, it could be anything that you want that you repeat, but it could be anything. It could be hello, it could be God, it could be Christ, it could be Buddhist, it could be anything. As you do it, the mind begins to then come together, and it goes into a one-pointed meditation. But that's not all. There's another type of meditation. It's called the vipassana, or analytical meditation, which you again begin to look at meaning of things. So if I say, for example, dress me slowly, I'm in a hurry. What I used or I'm dressing slowly, I'm in a hurry. I'm slowing down, I'm in a hurry. You have to, I'm slowing down, I'm in a hurry. That mantra, that's a mantra. That mantra has to have meaning, then it has to be applied. It has to be integrated, it has to be embodied. If not, all it'll do is just, it'll focus your mind, but it won't give you the analytic component of it. So that's the idea. So if you just join me, House Shrink, I want you to, first thing to do is to click the follow. You can like it if you want to, but most important is the follow, because that allows you to know when I'm on, but it allows me to expand the audience and have these extended streamings that I'm doing here with you. So you follow, and then the theme for today is how to make you a super you. And I'm talking about 3 ingredients, 3 components that are necessary. You have to have order, you have to have freedom, and you have to have time. Order, freedom, and time. So remember them as an acronym, TOF, tough, TOF, time, order, freedom. That's the best way to remember it. But the thing about it is that you have to cultivate each one of these. So I would ask you now that in your mind, ask yourself, which one needs work? Do I have enough order in my life? Do I have enough time in my life? Do I have enough freedom in my life to express myself and to live my life as who I am? So it's very important that you look at these 3. And as you improve them and you grow and you make them something better than what you were yesterday, you will see that things begin to happen in your life in a really beautiful way. Number 1, your health will improve, because all those 3 things are immunologically enhancing. They're really good for you. Lack of order causes lack of brain organization. Time, when you're going too fast, too much, too multitasking, all those kind of things, that brings your blood pressure up, and it can cause gastritis if you're not eating with enough serenity. So multitasking, by the way, it's been shown. I do a lot of work with Fortune 500 companies, and multitasking is not as effective as one focus, because the brain was made to take figure and background. You want me to prove it to you? Look at me, and everything in the background will be out of focus. Look at the paintings in the back, and I will be out of focus. That's the Gestalt principle of figure and background. You can't change that. It doesn't change. So when you're multitasking, you're not just you're not in one figure. You go figure, background, like back of, and what happens is that you become inefficient, and also it's not good for your health. I have structured my life order to eliminate stress. I feel in control. Good, very good. And sometimes when you have to give up control, you give it, and then you get it back, because you don't want to be rigid as rock. But sometimes you give it. You never give up your power. And I want to talk about this because, I talk about a topic and then I go all over the place because there's quite a bit to it. You never give up your control, or your power. What you give is your control. So here's control. Control is that you give someone permission to decide something for you, people that you trust or people that know more about you on the subject, who are not going to hurt you. Let's say you go to a doctor, and the doctor may know more about your liver than you do, so you might do what the doctor tells you, that you've given them their control. Power, you never give it up, because power is the ability to be able to get your control back. If you can't get your control back, you lost your power. So it's very, very important. Very important to understand that you can give control to those who trust and those who know more than you in a context, but never give up your power. All right, any other questions in the areas of the freedom, order, and time that I might try to help you with if there's any particular issue? But those are the 3 ingredients. That is the terrain for the super you, because you're going to be doing better than other people when you do that. You're definitely going to be better, because you're going to be doing better use of time, order, and the freedom of expression. And the freedom of expression, the way to look at it is that, am I able to be myself? Can I be myself with people, or do I have to put on a mask and pretend that I'm this, I'm that, I'm that? And political correctness now is really suppressing people. It's the modern Inquisition. They don't torture you and burn you at the stake anymore, but they take your grants away and they minimize you or they marginalize you, and sometimes even physically they can hurt you. So I think political correctness is tyranny. It's a tyranny. And it usurps your freedom. It takes your freedom away. Okay, any questions that have to do with the subject on how to make you a super you with these ingredients that I talked about. A lot of people are showing up. We had over 1,000 people last time. And I remind you, please follow. Click the follow. If you want to like, that's fine too, but follow is very important because it allows me to reach a larger audiences and allows me to give you all these topics that you're not going to hear anywhere else. This is all from my theory of mind-body science, and it's in my 2 books. I have 2 books, 2 bestseller books that are on Amazon, and one is the Mind-Body Code, and the other one is the Mind-Body Self. Both available, so you can go there. But also I want to remind you that if you came in late, or if you want to watch this whole video in its entirety, of course you can't on TikTok because it's only 60 seconds, but it can be downloaded, which we do, and then the next day it'll show up in its entirety on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. So go there and also follow my YouTube, because that way you'll also be notified. Make sure that you follow. How do I stop thinking that everyone knows more than me? Because you're comparing yourself with other people. And when you compare yourself with other people, it's not going to work. It's catastrophe. It doesn't work. Compare yourself to who you are today and how you want to be tomorrow, and it'll stop. Stop comparing and competing with people. Challenge yourself. You don't even compete with yourself. Challenge yourself. You can learn to let go of comparisons with others, and you begin to look at yourself in those 3 areas that I talked about. Time, order, and freedom. Look at those 3 areas and forget about people, and indirectly, you'll be doing better than most. You'll be an outlier. You'll be doing a lot better than most. But when you get into the competition with other people, then you're going to be forgetting the abilities that you have at your own pace. You're going to be trying to do things like other people do it, and that may work for them, but it may not work for you. So no competition with anyone. It is challenging yourself and gradually making improvements in the 3 areas that I talked about. And then also self-esteem is important. You can go to my video on self-esteem about increasing self-esteem, but you have to have those 3 components, because self-esteem has to be somewhere, and it can only land on those 3 things. If you have good self-esteem and you don't have order, and you don't have the time, you don't have the freedom, then self-esteem starts dwindling, and it begins to deteriorate. So that's how you stop thinking that everyone knows more than you. You have to know more than yourself. That's the way to look at it. Today you know more than you did yesterday, then that's good. That's the way that I would do it. Okay, any other questions? We had great questions yesterday, and today we have a really nice group, and Samantha's moderating, and she's doing a really good job because she's keeping out people who are not interested in being serious here, and also reminding you that you should follow my house shrink. So anyway, more questions, more people are showing up, and I can't mention them because I'll just be talking about it because it's like a flow, flowing through. And this is really nice because we're getting people who are very interested in these kinds of things that I'm talking about. This is mind-body psychology. I'm a clinical neuropsychologist, I'm a licensed psychologist, and I'm not doing therapy here. I'm doing education, learning. So this is not about therapy, this is about learning to become a better person and to be able to contribute something. And I'll be talking about many other things, but today is how to create a super you, from you to super you. And you do it with the 3 components that I talked about: freedom, order, and time. Freedom, order, and time. So again, I ask you to look at yourself and see what areas need some work. Do you feel you have enough freedom to express yourself, to be yourself? Do you feel you have enough time to do things in your life? Very important. And do you feel, especially, do you feel that you're competing with yourself, or are you challenging yourself? Okay, so again, when you go with the freedom, order, and time, look at the 3 and see which one are you lacking, or by the way, which one are you doing really well? But as I said before, if you want order what you have control over. Order. If you don't have control over anything, go to your room and get your room in order, or get your living room in order, whatever, and that will give you a sense of control. Because sometimes we don't have control over certain things in life. So what you do is you find the control that you can take care of. It's very important. Also, the brain responds, because we're ecological. We have an ecological system. The brain responds to what it sees in the environment. You go to a garbage dump and you're not going to be philosophical there. It's not going to work. So you want to have order in your life. The environment is orderly. I've written several books. I've written 4 books. 2 are bestsellers. Every time before I wrote, I would have order. My desk had to be orderly. I could put things on it and everything, but the important thing is that you find order around you, and then it begins to assimilate. Your brain begins to see order, so therefore I look for order. Let's see, my son is 23, OCD, ODD, ADHD, all the Ds, right? Bipolar, what's end with my husband enables him. Well, I think you should get some really good family therapy, would be important. And look at all the diagnostics, by the way, because I've done a lot of work as a neuropsychologist with both obsessive compulsive disorders and with attention deficit. And attention deficit is neither a disorder nor a deficit of attention. It's an abundance of curiosity and creativity. It has to be harnessed, but it has to be treated not as a disorder, but as something that requires attention, learning to focus your attention. You notice when kids who have an attention deficit disorder, if they like a video or something, they watch it for hours. What happened to the attention deficit? And I understand all of the neurochemistry of the dopamine, transporters of dopamine. I understand all of that. But it's not a disorder. It is an abundance of curiosity that needs to be treated, and most likely in many cases not with medication. 2% medication. That's my opinion, but you should follow the opinion of the doctors that you work with. All right, so a lot of people keep showing up here, and I'm really, really glad that you're here and you're looking into the super you. How to make you a super you using the 3 components. 3 components, remember, freedom, order, and time. Freedom, order, and time. If you wanted TOF, it'll be tough and you'll remember a lot better. So any other questions here related to the subject or around the subject or the subject? So we don't go all the way out there because then people will lose track of what we're doing here. If you just join me, first thing to do, click follow. First thing, that's it. And then I am talking about the topic for today is how to make you a super you using the 3 ingredients that I talked about. You have to have order, you have to have time. Hi, I'm from the North Pole. Yeah, that sounds really good. You live in the North Pole. Okay. Are you an explorer in the North Pole? Okay, so getting back to the freedom, time, and order. Some people are funny, but just stay on task. See, that's for example, what you're doing there when you're doing these kinds of things, you're not following order. You're not being orderly. You're not paying attention to what's going on. You're going all over the place. How can I be funny? How can I do this? That's not order. So there, your order requires a little work. Okay, so it's going to require a little work here. In the North Pole, Alaska. Well, Alaska's not the North Pole. Let me tell you. If you live in Alaska, then the geography is wrong. Alaska's not the North Pole. So anyway, get order in your life and get focused. Everybody here, use the time properly. Another way to. What do I mean by freedom? Okay, very important question. Freedom in psychology, freedom is defined as options. The more options you have, the more freedom you have. When an option is taken away, you have a sense of loss of freedom. Let me give you an example. You have 2 items that you want to buy. And all of a sudden they say, no, this one's not available anymore. Immediately the value goes up. Not because you're stupid and you think, this must be really good. It's because your option to make a decision was taken away, and that's what brings value to the thing. So freedom has to do with options. So getting back to your question on freedom, do you have enough options in what you're doing at work? Do you have enough options in what you're doing at school? In your relationships with your parents, with yourself, with your partners? Do you have enough options to be yourself or to feel like you, for example, in a dictatorship, there's no freedom. This is how you do it and that's it. You don't like it, too bad. You don't like it, concentration camp. So look at the options that you have. And if you don't have enough options, be creative and look at alternative options. But you have to have options to have a sense of freedom. So if we want to operationalize options, is freedom, and freedom is options. That's the way to look at it. You're welcome. Somebody, Solo, I can't make it out very well, but you're welcome. Okay, any other questions? These are really, really brilliant questions that people are asking because it helps clarify what I'm talking about. Water. Okay, if you just join me, the first thing to do is to follow, like Kathy did. Kathy Pearson, great. Everybody that comes on, please follow. First thing, that's the ticket to get in here. Follow, and then you sit comfortably for the lecture. And of course, you can interact and have questions. If they're serious questions, I'll try to answer them for you. So if you just joined, the theme for today is how to make you a super you. You stop competing with other people. You start challenging yourself. You assess whether today you're better than you were yesterday in the 3 areas: freedom, time, and what's the other one? Tell me. Freedom, time, and what? Come on. Order. All right. So nobody wrote it, but anyway, freedom, time, and order. I'm just getting you to use your head with these things. Make them a part of your life. Freedom, time, and order. And look at each one of them. Now, freedom, you know that is options. Order is to find predictability, to be able to see that there's a sense of order, which means that a sense of you can look at things and they have a harmonious sense of it. You walk into a room and things are all over the place and clothing on the floor, that there's no harmony there. It's like it's a place that for people who are not thinking straight. I'm back today. I bought your book, Monique. Hi, Monique. I'm glad. Which one did you get? The Mind Body Code or the Mind Body Self? They're both bestsellers. They're doing really, really well, and I know that a lot of people are buying them here, so that helps a lot too. They're being translated now. The Mind Body Code is going to be translated to German and Polish. The Mind Body Self is already in Polish, and some of them are in French, Italian. The Mind Body Self, great. Mind Body Self is the second one I wrote. It's also a bestseller, and I think you're going to find some really good things there because I talk about how mind and body communicate in a cultural context. And culture is very important, even for the immune system. So I'm glad you got it. Enjoy it, and if you have any questions, keep joining, and I'll try to answer them for you. It's quite a good book, you'll see. Not just because I wrote it, but because I put a hell of a lot of good time into it and all my heart and brain into it so that I could have something of quality. Okay, if you just joined, I am talking about what I'm calling creating a super you. How to go from you to a super you with 3 components. Let's see, is a question. You're near Fairbanks? No, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. But anybody who's from another country right now, let me know. Don't tell me you're from Antarctica or anything like this. Seriously, if you're from another country, then I think that it would be nice to let us know. We've had people from all over the place, from Mongolia, from a lot of people from New Zealand and the Netherlands, Philippines, South Africa. It's been really nice, really, really nice. So anyway, in Norway. Okay, Norway. I've been to Norway. I've lectured in Norway, in Oslo. It was so cold. I went right in the middle of winter, really cold, but the food was great. I went to the best sushi restaurant in Norway, in Oslo. Outstanding. The food is incredible. And everybody speaks English. You go out, you're walking around, and you ask people for directions, they speak perfect English. At least everybody that I saw, they spoke English. So it's a beautiful country. So welcome. Any other questions, or if you're from other countries, let me know, because this is becoming very international. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my usual Hollister shirt, and that's the trademark here. See, that's my ritual. I wear a Hollister here, and that's my order, create order. But go home and see if there's order in your home. I'm from Alaska, beautiful. Never been to Alaska. But a beautiful, beautiful country from what I've seen, the pictures that I've seen and the videos. So go home and see if you can find order. One room at least needs to be orderly, and that's where you spend your time. When you want to think, when you want to meditate, when you want to write, do any work, get order outside so your brain can get the message that there's order. Very important. So that's the first thing you do. And it's a commitment. It's a beautiful commitment. The first thing that I do when I wake up is make my bed. That's it. Rain or shine. When you make commitments and you keep them, self-esteem goes up. Goes down when you don't keep commitments to yourself. So, talking about the 3 ingredients, what are your suggestions when you have young kids? Give them options. Kids love options. The options are you make your room by 3 o'clock and you can get to do this and that. You make it by 2 o'clock, you get to do this and that. You don't make it by 3 o'clock, then you don't get this and that at first. At first you have to use a little bit of behavior modification. Later you get them to get the meaning of it. But try to make it as pleasant as possible. Always give them options. When you give options, I was talking about freedom. If you say to a kid, you got to do this, do it now, you're taking away their freedom. Now, sometimes they have to do it because they're at home. You pay for it, they're home. You have to do what you say. But there's also a way to say, look, I need you to do this. You can either do it now or in a half hour. Which one do you want to do? Half hour. Okay, I'll check with you in a half hour. Good, it's your choice. If they didn't do it and you say, well, you don't get this. Oh, that's not fair. No, you chose not to do it. You teach them responsibly. You chose not to do it. I gave you a choice. You chose not to do it. That's how it is. That's what you chose. And don't argue. Okay, so we have some people that are trying to be funny and they're just really landing. They're just crash landing. So I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just going to continue to honor you, the people that are serious here, because what I'm doing is I'm honoring you in sharing information. If you want to be a clown, if you want to get attention for yourself, go somewhere else. There's plenty of mindless stuff here on TikTok. So just go there and then be funny there. So that's what I would suggest. Anyway, and you will get blocked and muted because we don't have any room for people who are not interested in serious information here. These are life tools. And today, the life tools are how to become a super you. A super you doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else. You're better than you were yesterday. And you're better than you were 6 months ago. That's what it's all about. That's the super you. And you will succeed and you'll do better in life because you'll be looking at the 3 components that I talked about. Freedom, order, and time. So again, look at yourself and see if you need work on one of the areas. Do you have enough? Do you give yourself enough time in your life? Do you allocate time? Do you have enough order in your life? And you have enough freedom? Do you have enough options to do what you need to do in your life? And by the way, when people don't have those 3, it affects their health, their mental health and their physical health. Immunologically, you have to feel freedom. When freedoms are taken away from you, you have immunological helplessness, and it causes all kinds of problems with natural killer cells and everything else that I'll talk about in. Is the super you emotionless? No, not at all. The super you has emotions, but if they're negative emotions, you don't spend a lot of time in them. You have to have emotions. If something upsets you, you have to allow yourself to get angry. If someone treats you badly, you have the right to get angry, of what I call righteous anger. It's very good for your immune system. What you don't want to do is you don't want to spin and you don't want to gossip. Gossip means you're talking about it and you're talking about this person that did to you and the person's not there. Don't spin on anything. You have to have emotions. The negative emotions, use them as a signal to do something about them. The positive emotions, use them as a signal to celebrate what you're doing right. That's the way to look at it. Let's see. Let me go back here because someone had, you inspired me to apply to 2 extra scholarships after watching your seminar yesterday. Wonderful. We have to celebrate this person. Monique, wonderful. I love that. I don't motivate. I'm not a motivational coach or anything. Motivation is for rats. You give something so the person will do something that they wouldn't do. Inspiration brings out the best in you and it allows you to do something. So Monique, you did it and that's great. So this is really wonderful. People just join me. I'm house shrink, self-appointed house shrink, TikToks. And I give these Tools for Life kind of presentations and lectures And all I ask you to do is to be serious and to follow. Click the follow. And then tomorrow, this will be up in its entirety on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. And also follow there. Getting a huge following over there now. I've had over 500,000 people already go to my channel, to Dr. Mario Martinez. And I have over 160 videos now available for free, of course. Short, long, all kinds of information that will help you grow and help you become that super you. So everybody here has a potential to be a super you. And I don't want to hear any excuses. What happened to you in your life? Things happen in life. Let them go and grow. Let them go and grow. Carl Jung, which was my favorite psychiatrist, he was a Swiss psychiatrist, and he developed what's called analytical psychology. He said, I am not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. And that would be the mantra that I want you to follow. So when you're working with these three ingredients that I talked about to create that super you, freedom, order, and time, you have to then grow not by competing with anyone, but by challenging yourself and becoming better today than you were yesterday. It's what the Japanese call kaizen. In the work, in the industry here in Japan, they call it kaizen, which is slow, gradual improvements in whatever you do. Slow, gradual improvements, kaizen. So you want to have kaizen in the three areas: freedom, order, and time. All right, any questions as we're going along? We're new messages here. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, I don't want to bring religion here, because then it just religion and politics are something that I don't want to bring here. I want to respect your religion and your politics, but I want to stick just with science, with psychology, with neuroscience. And then if you're religious, then use it in your religion. If you're political, use it in your politics. But let's just stick with the science here. And I just want to respect you, and I want you to respect me. Wonderful. All right. Any questions related to what I'm talking about here? About the psychology of becoming a super you, the neuropsychology of becoming a super you. You have to have order in your life. You have to have freedom to express yourself. And you have to have the time to do it. So in Spanish, in Spain, my father was from Spain. They have a toast. They say amor, salud y pesetas, y el tiempo para gastarlo. What that means is that they have love, health, and money, and the time to spend them. So you see how time is important. So anyway, where do you believe science or scientists came from? Well, science came from observation, from observing. This worked, that didn't work. Trial and error, a priori, a posteriori. And but what happened sometimes, though, is back in the medieval times and before, science and religion were one. And that's not good, because if you didn't have the right religion, you would be burned at the stake, because you would be called a witch. That's not science. So religion has to be to bring out the best in the individual, and science is also to try to bring out the best so the person can grow. So science is empirical, meaning by observation, something that you can predict, something that you can count on, and something that you can experiment with and make it better and better and better. That's why we have airplanes, and we have antibodies and antibiotics, and not antibodies are part of the immune system. Antibiotics, what I meant. We've gone to the moon. We've done good things, but also science has been bad with atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs. That it's not very good. So it can go either way. It can go good or bad. Just like money can go good or bad. Money doesn't taint people. It doesn't make them evil. People abuse money or use money in the right direction. So I think it's really important. Any other questions? And people that are just joining me, this is House Shrink. Make sure that you follow my work, and make sure that tomorrow, if you want to watch this video, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's just Dr. Mario Martinez. Follow there, and you'll be able to see the whole thing completely. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. We spent quite a bit of time, almost an hour. And I want to thank you for being here. Thousands of people have been joining, and I think that's wonderful. But make sure that you follow my work, how shrink. And then when you go tomorrow, or you can go today because there are over 155 videos at my channel on YouTube, then Dr. Mario Martinez, follow and enjoy the videos. There's a lot of hours and hours and hours of videos. Okay, so so anyway, the original science was physics, not math. Math came after to measure physics. So anyway, this is it. And what I want to wish you a wonderful day, and I want you to begin to practice this, creating the super you. Okay? What do you think about the mind-body self concept for people who are incarcerated? What about it? I've done a lot of work with the prison system. I worked with inmates, and I have worked with them, teaching them to, number one, to take responsibility. Because when you work with prisoners, many of them, none of them are guilty. No, I just happened to be walking by, and this guy asked me to help him rob a bank. No, first to take responsibility, and then while you're imprisoned, make the best out of yourself. And now here's a really difficult question, because science has to ask difficult questions. I've worked with people who have 200-year sentence. They're not going to get out. So you can't give them hope about how it's going to be. So this is what your life is going to be. And you're in control of your life within. Nobody can control your life within. So I teach them agency, internal agency, to find what they need to do in their lives to better their lives internally and in every other way. Because, for example, monks see as a decision. Monks live in almost like prisons. They have the cells, they call them, as a 10 by 12 room, but they choose that. Now, an inmate didn't choose it. Oh, probably they did choose it because they did something wrong. They chose to do something wrong. And by the way, there are a lot of people in prison who don't need to be in prison. They were in prison because they didn't have good defense and many other things that happened. But that's what I have to say about the prison system and inmates. Anyway, so I am going to be shutting down now, and I want to thank you all for being here. And the subject was how to create a super you. And tomorrow you can go see it, and on my YouTube channel, it's just Dr. Mario Martinez. Make sure that you follow here and you follow there, and you're all beautiful people, and enjoy. And today, everybody has the potential to be a super you. Okay, so enjoy, and remember the 3 areas, and become a super you.